The Pawn is the first book published in a series of novels about Patrick Bowers, a special agent with the FBI who specializes in using the time and location of murders to identify and locate the criminals involved. It's a contemporary crime thriller that takes place in North Carolina and has multiple twists, which could easily lead into a whole slew of complementary twists later in the series. What makes this book so good for me wasn't just the main character or the story, but the addicting writing style. A friend recommended I try the series out and gave me The Bishop, the fourth book in the series. I only read the prologue and was so hooked that I had to put the book down for fear of spoilers and immediately reached for The Pawn. The Pawn was published in 2007 and was written by Stephen James, a best-selling author who has now written 9 books in the Patrick Bowers series. Special Agent Bowers may be one of the most human characters I've read about in a good long while. He has all the usual traits of having likes, dislikes, goals, etc., but it gets taken a step further in how he gets caught off guard, makes mistakes, and struggles to get through to his teenage stepdaughter after the death of his wife. He's not an amazing character and never tries to present himself as such, and thus, almost paradoxically, he becomes a great character as a result. These things make him very understandable, and his determination and intellect just make you want to keep cheering for him. Not once did I think he was getting tiring to read about or annoying, since he's up against a very difficult situation and pushes himself through no matter what. The mystery itself follows the series of murders committed by a man calling himself the Illusionist. He's a brilliant criminal, on par with our main character, if not a little smarter. Something that the book does that many thrillers don't is that several chapters are dedicated to following the Illusionist directly, letting us see things from his perspective. He's not some crazed psychopath killing for the sake of killing. He's calm, collected, and is a brilliant tactician, always one step ahead of Bowers and crew. He has a mission and will do whatever it takes to fulfill it. The scenes with him, though, thankfully don't devolve into the inane ramblings of some lunatic, but instead shed some light on his past, his motivations, and generally what he's been doing to move the plot along. I enjoyed the scenes following Bowers, but I loved the scenes following our criminal mastermind. It was just so refreshing to see a murderous villain written so strongly. We're able to get into his head and really understand him, even if he's still clearly evil. The story was written in both first and third person perspectives. Bowers' sections were in first person, while the Illusionist scenes were written in third person. This helps cement the idea that this was Bowers' story, but that he wasn't the only player. This is not to say that the style or the plot are without fault, though. There are a number of cliches that the book falls into, like Bowers narrowly escaping an explosion, or forgetting his gun just to draw out a fight scene. These moments aren't too severe and probably bother me only because I've seen them so often before, and they don't really affect the flow of the story, so they aren't all that bad. Otherwise, the plot progresses smoothly, dropping clues when necessary and giving Bowers adequate time and resources to piece those clues together, unlike what Jack Reacher managed to pull off in Killing Floor. Yes, I'm still annoyed by that. Additionally, the pacing is well constructed. The book starts off at a jog, already dragging you in, and by the last few chapters is bolting off at a marathon's pace. It slows down occasionally, letting you catch your breath, but even then, it leaves you hankering for more, just to see how some new development affects the investigation or the characters. And trust me, James was very clever when setting the clues in place, because this book almost demands a second read-through just to see exactly how each clue leads to the ending. One last thing to comment on is that this book is listed as a Christian fiction. I'm not about to disparage Christianity here, so don't worry, but the few references to God were wholly unnecessary within the text. The few religious references Bowers makes are in response to the death of his wife, who tried to tell him that her death was just part of God's plan. Say what you will about religion, but this was such a small aspect of Bowers' character, who is portrayed as something of a questioning atheist, that it felt entirely unnecessary. If you were to remove all the references to God, you would lose maybe 2 whole pages worth of text, and the book would still have exactly the same feel to it. This may lead to something bigger in the rest of the series, but we'll have to see. I could go on about this book, but as it is a mystery, I don't want to risk spoilers. Overall, The Pawn is definitely a page-turner, well worth the read. The characters are fun, the plot is smart and creative, there are plenty of twists, and I cannot wait to get into the next book, titled The Rook. If you like thrillers, then you should pick this one up. So, have you read the book? What did you think? If not, do you want to read it now? Whatever your thoughts, comment below and stay tuned for more.